So what is the real foundation or backbone for health? First, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not a rigid dietary box or paradigm. It's not a supplement or herbal program. And really, it's not something that can be bought or sold in any way, shape, or form. It's not something that can be gotten easily or overnight. Something that takes time, energy, effort, discipline to cultivate and to build and strengthen. So the question is obviously, what is the real backbone or foundation for health? Well, to answer the question and to be crystal clear, the real backbone or foundation is actually and literally the backbone, the spine. And I know might sound a little bit weird, so we're going to explore this, and I'm going to demonstrate this and illustrate this in the most common sense, obvious, practical, grounded, pragmatic ways as possible. Now, this is something that really no one seems to talk about. It's easy to, sell this or sell that or recommend this diet or do this or do that, but in reality, unless we address the foundation, unless we address the backbone of the situation, our results are going to be, only a percentage of what they could be. So what I'm going to do now is show you some illustrations and some actual tangible reasons why the backbone for real health is actually the backbone of the spine. And I'm going to use my nifty anatomy book here, which is called The Human Body. So we're going to go through a few different illustrations, and as we go through this, I'll show you and explain why it's important to have a healthy, strong, flexible, supple spine. So number one on our list of reasons why is, I'll show you right here exactly. You can see this is a diagram of the nervous system, and I'll get it nice in the camera so you can see it. And if you'll notice the spine running right there in the middle with all of the nerves coming off of it, as well as you'll see the brain on top. So we can see that, if we have a calcified, constricted, distorted, or inflexible spine, we're not really going to be getting the nerve flow that we could be getting. Because, there's all this talk about be like water, and water is this, and water is everything, when in reality, we are 70 to 80% water. But more literally and tangibly, we're a series of systems and tubes of fluids, which if constrained or distorted or constricted, will not flow as readily or as optimally as they could. It's just like a garden hose. If you have a kink or knot in the garden hose, it's not really going to get the optimal flow. But what most people do is say, oh man, I got this kink in the garden hose. Let me just go here and crank up the flow. Let me just do this extreme thing or turn this extreme thing up, and maybe I'll get a little bit more output at the end. In reality, if we just undo the knot, smooth out the flow, everything will flow better and more optimally and effectively. And obviously, if this is our nervous system we're talking about, this is the foundation. This is how we're experiencing the world. So that's the first example. The second example we're going to look at would be the endocrine system or the hormonal system. And you can see that here. Again, you'll see all of the endocrine glands are resting along the spine. So again, if our spine is not really moving, then we're not necessarily massaging and stimulating the organs. If our spine is, our posture is like this, and we're walking around like this all day, what's happening to the organs? They're being compressed and strained, and they're not getting the blood circulation, the lymphatic circulation, and the fluid circulation in and out that they need to function optimally and effectively. So our next example, as we'll see here, will be our cardiovascular system. And you can see here, again on the diagram, those major things, the huge red and white our arteries there, which are running right along our spine. So again, these things are running right up and down here, which is nourishing and feeding every different aspect of our body. And if our spine is like this or like that, or we have terrible posture all the time, what's happening to that circulation? It's being impeded and hindered, thus nutrients aren't reaching the cells, waste isn't being eliminated as properly, fluids aren't being exchanged, and thus health at a real, measurable, tangible, pragmatic, physical level is being undermined. Not some faraway concept or some abstract concept of, oh, I do this and I eat that and I'm perfect and this is what this little box defines me and makes me very healthy. No, this is actual nitty-gritty, measurable, tangible health, free of any sort of mental abstraction. So our next example that we're going to look at will be the lymphatic and the immune system, which again is the waste removal system in our body. And again, it does not have a pump like the heart, like the circulatory system, and it's only stimulated really by movement. So as you can see here, all the lymphatic glands along the spine, the thymus gland on right in the heart area, and then you can see also all the glands, right in the pelvic area, going all the way down to the legs. So again, unless we're moving the spine on a regular, consistent basis and having a fluid and flexible and supple and strong spine, these glands aren't being stimulated. The thymus gland isn't really being massaged. All these glands aren't being stimulated to pump and contract and do the peristalsis that they're wanting to do. And also on top of all of these different systems which we've just gone through, there's also the digestive system, which you can't see in this angle, but the liver, the stomach, the spleen, the pancreas, the small intestine, the large intestine, etc., are also riding along the spine. So if we're having distorted posture, or things are thrown out of whack, or things aren't moving, those organs aren't being massaged and thus are not functioning at the optimal level that they could. So on top of all of that, the last example that I'll make is that if we just zoom out and just take a really common sense, practical look at what are some of the main things that get people in middle to old age, or what are some of the major things that happen to people as they age? Well, a lot of it has to do with joint problem. I'm sorry, not joint problems, but spine problems and joint problems, meaning, oh, I got a bad back, or I got a herniated disc, or disc out of place, or ruptured this, or calcified that, or oh, I got knee problems, ankle problems, etc. Or it's some sort of circulatory thing, or something that's coming about as a result of poor circulation or poor lymphatic drainage. So we can think about that, and we can see that out here, and we can zoom back and say, okay, if I'm going to be practical and pragmatic and common sense and actually want to be preventative and proactive, if these are the major things which are causing a lot of problems for people which I can see around me, wouldn't it make sense, if I don't want to end up like that, for me to right now to initiate actions and disciplines which can help to alleviate and prevent those things from happening, i.e. strengthen the spine, do things that will build the muscles and the tissues and keep the tissues flexible and supple, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons, the vessels, etc. And you might be thinking, okay, well, what can I do? Just in short, intelligent systems of movement and health like Tai Chi, Qigong, Bagua, Xingyi even, or even some really, some systems of yoga as well. And obviously included all within that is to have an intelligent practice, as well as to have a good teacher, because a good teacher is really invaluable and irreplaceable along those paths. So hopefully that's been helpful. Hopefully that's been really common sense and easy to understand. This is really a major thing which no one's really talking about, no one really pays much attention to, but in reality, and for all the reasons which I just demonstrated, it's really important, and it's really so common sense and easy that we sort of overlook it because we're looking for the right little, oh, if I just eat this, or if I just take that, or if I just do this meditation, or if I just try this thing, then everything will be perfect. In reality, we have to go to the root, go to the foundation, and nourish the backbone, literally, metaphorically, etc. So, if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.